because I don't want to get fucked over. But we had an HR meeting, and they said if a person comes in this building and they want to be called anything, you have to respect what that is. We don't give a fuck if they say they want to be a balloon. If you don't call them a fucking balloon, you're fucking fired. Right? So now they're starting to implement this in corporate businesses. So and in schools. So if I go to a school and I'm a teacher, if I was a teacher, I quit. If you go to a school and the teachers and the kids say, "Hi, Miss Taylor, I'm a balloon today," she gotta fucking go around and act like you're a balloon all fucking day? This is stupid.
So
you're opening Pandora's box, and
I still can't believe this is a conversation we must have.
Nobody needs you to advocate for how difficult it is to use gender-neutral pronouns. Nobody said that the gender binary was easy. These are not my preferred pronouns. These are my pronouns. You will use them, or you will not refer to me at all.
Just don't refer
if
to
you
her.
misgender.
I'm good with that.
Well, it's just, we shall no longer refer to you at all.
Sounds good.
Men actually have to work to become something. We're just here.
But can we get paid the same as men?
We do. If we didn't, that'd be an issue.
What are you talking about? Women do not make as much as men.
If it were true that women who are not in these construction jobs and this type of thing, but rather are in kind of comfy AC-related jobs like the men, and they're getting paid less than them, then why wouldn't a man create an entire firm of women and then destroy their competition because they're now paying their staff way less?
I mean, that's a question for a dude. I can't answer that.
Why couldn't you answer that?
Why wouldn't a man have a firm of all women and pay them less? I don't know.
I mean, because then they would destroy the competition who's paying the men more, right?
Okay, so why don't we see that then?
Because it's not the case that men are making more in those positions than women are. If it was the case...
She lost the entire equality argument the second she dodged a basic question. Says it all. Really?
Wait a damn minute. Wait a damn minute.
The tattoo is reversed. Like literally it's reversed. Because they did it in the mirror.
This was clearly done on purpose.
Do you think trans women should be able to enter cis women facilities?
Yes. I just don't really care. I don't really think the gender really matters.
Say you're at the gym and you're like changing, and then this trans woman comes in and you just see like his genitalia. How would you feel about that?
Just a body part. It's not anything that serious.
What if he was doing the helicopter in the middle of the locker room? Would that bother you at all?
I don't think so. It might catch me off guard, but I don't think it would bother me.
Jesus is the Son of God. He's not even of this world. Why am I a Pharisee?
You are a Pharisee.
Why?
Jesus preached love.
What am I?
Preaching hatred and white supremacy. You are a Pharisee. Flip the table.
You're falsely accusing people right now.
Jesus Christ.
Pharisees didn't preach about Jesus.
You're not preaching Jesus, you're preaching
Pharisees didn't preach about Jesus.
hate and white supremacy.
No, what are you talking about?
Jesus was here to show love.
Where are you hearing white supremacy? That's what I'm preaching.
Flip the tables that you're sitting at. Flip the tables that you are sitting at.
Jesus came to preach love.
You are preaching hate.
Jesus came to preach love. What's so hateful?
The message you are teaching is a lie. Jesus is here to teach truth.
What am I teaching that's lies?
Love.
Aren't Z-hers. I am a white transmasculine femme non-binary, temporarily mostly able-bodied, neurodivergent, obsessive-compulsive, chronically ill, culturally Jewish, Unitarian Universalist, non-monogamous, demi-low romantic, grey demi-bis.
They are always screaming. They always have a specific look, symbolizing their cult, through hair color or rainbow badges piercing on the face.
I think male and female children exist, and I think they're very troubled, and I think trans is a horrible, negative label.
This committee heard previously from my mother under the nickname Maria Polaris in the first spring proponent hearing, and it would be fair now if you heard the truth from me. We do not want a future where transgender, non-binary, gender non-conforming, and intersex youth fear disclosing their concerns to therapists or medical providers who have the ability to help them. In cases where families fully support their children, they should not have to flee the state for better health care. Decisions against gender-affirming healthcare should not be made without looking at facts or unbiased current data, without serious input from licensed medical professionals.
Gender dysphoria is actually rare. There seems to be a misunderstanding that needs to be cleared up.
I don't think you can be sexist towards men, and I don't think you can be racist towards white people.
How have you arrived at that conclusion?
That's a good question. I don't know, just hearing like all the stories about like all this messed up stuff they did in the past. Like, I'm not even black, but I have a grudge against them.
Are you referring to slavery?
Yeah, and just like the treatment of them over time since then, like all the discrimination.
Do you think that white people were the only ones who engaged in slavery?
So wait, are you trying to like say that like white people were slaves too?
Yeah, white people were also slaves.
That's where the term slave comes from, is the Slavic region.
Exactly.
Eastern Europeans are so oppressed even within
I don't know, but I didn't see them oppressed over here that much. Like, I don't know. In history, I don't see books talking about the oppression of white people.
Yeah,
Why do you think that is?
I fight for this country for freedom, so I don't need to pass permission to nobody. We don't need your permission to exist. Thank you.
You think back to, for example, the Stonewall Uprising, many of the folks who were engaged in that uprising were young trans people. And those folks, 50 plus years later, are now our elders.
I'm going on my 71 years on this earth and walking in the Civil Rights March with my mother at age 6, then marching for gay rights. Now I'm having to see these wonderful progressions going backwards.
Among the challenges that we see facing transgender elders are discrimination and lack of access to welcoming healthcare.
Aging as a trans person is much more complicated. Why? Because we have the same exact issues and then some.
Every now and then I have like this thought like, oh my God, if I end up in a nursing home.
Please stop this craziness.
I would absolutely refuse to refer to this woman here, who's clearly a woman, as a they, because for me that would be imposing an ideological political system. Because she is. If everybody watching this program can see that she is a woman.
The idea that you're saying that if this person chooses to say that they are they, that you can't engage with that because of your belief system. We live in a culture where lots of people have lots of different beliefs, as is very, very clear on today's show. We cannot say, I have this belief system, so therefore I'm going to impose it on...
In one part of the world, people are dying from wars, and in the other, everybody is playing with their genitals.
Do you know what the leading cause of death for pregnant people is?
Pregnant people?
Mm-hmm.
Mothers? Women?
If you'd like to call them mothers, not all of them are mothers, but if you'd like to call them that.
What are they if they're not mothers?
They're pregnant people.
What people other than mothers are pregnant?
It's interesting because you come into this conversation, trying to hold this moral superiority. But when I use inclusive language, which it only takes a couple extra syllables to use inclusive language,
To include
and
who?
it seems to include people who don't identify as women but can become pregnant.
So you're telling me that in order to be a moral person, I need to accept the idea that a man can really become a woman. That's a prerequisite of my being a moral person.
I mean, yes.
I would like to identify, I do identify actually, as the correct person on this issue. And I would just ask that you accept and affirm my identity.
That's not your identity.
That is my, I promise you, that's my identity.
Towards a gender-neutral world where you can't actually say his or her or mankind or any of these things.
I think some people would like it to go that way, but I think its political correctness gone absolutely mad. I think there's always going to be a difference. I mean, you can have a single award for certain professions, but you couldn't have that in football or boxing, because there has to. How can you compare a female boxer with a male boxer? How can you compare a female footballer with a male footballer?
Harry, look, here's the problem I have with it. It's twofold, really. One, I don't know why we're bothering with this. Everyone enjoys Best Actress awards at the Oscars. No one's complaining, but suddenly we have to change everything. Secondly, if there is one category, fewer actresses will win, just because there'll be one category. Thirdly, if there's real gender neutrality, then why don't we take it everywhere, like the Olympics? And we know the answer, because women wouldn't win anything apart from the equestrian event, I'm told. So,
yes, so women would win the equestrian event. So we know that actually when you equal out physicality, women and men are on a pretty level playing field. And physicality is a different issue.
But they're not, though, are they? I mean,
it's a different issue.
If you put the strongest, most powerful and fastest men against their female equivalents, the men would win.
But that, what we're looking at there is a purely physical issue.
But you accept that?
Yes, absolutely,
Okay.
and I'm not saying
So you accept there are really qualitative differences between men and women?
I accept there are physical differences between men and women, yes.
Do you know there are now 71 different gender options on Facebook.
I thought it was 50, actually.
No, I'm the only one, right? You can be gender neutral, you can be polygender, you can be a two-spirit person, you can be a woman, you can be bigender, cis female, cis woman, gender fluid, gender non-conforming, gender questioning, gender variant. I'm not making this up. 71 different ways.
How nice. And which one are you going to pick?
What is wrong with man and woman, boy and girl? What is wrong with that?
Nothing. They haven't taken man and woman off that list. They're still on that list. They're just saying that actually, if we look at it for the first time in history and say, if we didn't just have these two options, what else could we have?
Who's invented all
What
these?
else could
Why do we need
create?
them?
Because there are people out there who are saying, actually, that doesn't feel like me. That doesn't feel like I fit in those options.
With the greatest respect to these people, who are they to change the way that men and women have been categorised for thousands of years?
They're not. They're not.
Why should everybody have to now conform to this tiny minority who woke up one day and went, I now want to be called two-spirit person. Well, I want to be called Hiawatha. All right, that's fine. Call yourself what you like. But it shouldn't be a formal category, surely.
Why not? Why should it not? Nobody is saying you have to pick that category, Piers. You can still pick man. I can still pick woman. You have the choice.
Are we going to have a gender-neutral category at the Oscars?
I don't know, but I think
for the 69 types of genders who are not covered by Best Actor and Best Actress, do we need to have a third category?
So what was interesting about the MTV Awards was they actually went, you know what, this is open to everyone. And the reason we're doing it is because we have people saying to us, we just don't see the difference. We're not sure why it's there. The problem the Oscars have right now is that actually they're not the judging panel for them isn't probably diverse enough. So what you're going to get is a lot of unconscious bias, a lot of people voting for people who look like themselves because they know and understand it.
Kelly, you have been through an experience which is a minority experience from transitioning from one gender to another. You know what it's like when people are ignorant about that, perhaps have prejudice about it. Do you have some understanding of people who call themselves non-binary, don't define themselves as either male or women?
Society has a choice and you can choose. But, you know, you are born male or female. That's what goes on your birth certificate. I know I've had my birth certificate changed now. And I think it has to be that way. And as you grow up, you can choose. But basically, you are a man or woman, whichever way you look at it.
Why does it have to be that way? That's the thing that I question, which is why.
Well, because many people think it is. It's not why does it have to be that way. It just is that way.
What were you born? It's just that way. I was born a woman, and I'm very happy to stay with that. But that's my choice.
But this is society gone mad, really.
I don't think it is. I think it's actually the fact that we've just never questioned it. We've never looked at it. We've never said, what if we had different options?
What does two-spirit person mean?
That's an Indian, I think.
Huh?
Actually, the Indians are called two-spirit because they actually believe you are
agender, androgyne, androgynous, bigender, cis female, cis male. I can't keep up with it. Nobody can. Neutrois is apparently a gender. Hi, identifies neutrois.
Well, Harriet, why not have 3 categories? One for men, one for women, and one for people who may define themselves differently.
It's non-binary. And I think that's...
How can I respect what you are now when you could not respect yourself for what you have been before your transition? Ridiculous world where we stand. Sorry for my bad English. It is not my native language.
Stuff off the field is like the reason I'm, here on this planet. That feels like my life's work and something that just feels like breathing to me. So I love that work. I love being able to leverage this amazing platform and use that to, in some way make the world a better place.
Oh, shut up. Honestly.
Good for her.
You're you kick a round little ball around. That's it. Nobody wants to see you make the world a better place. And let me tell you what she means by this stuff off the pitch, is that now she's retired, now she says she wants to see biological males who've transitioned to be trans women play in the women's national soccer team. Not while she was playing herself, so they couldn't take her place, these biological males, but now she'd be quite happy for that to happen. In fact, she wants it to happen. If that's what your contribution is to women's rights, because she's basically saying, look at me, I did all this stuff for women's rights. Actually, Miss Rapinoe, what you've done, you've left with a little sting in the tail, is that now, having fought for women's rights, for pay parity and so on, which I totally applaud you for, now you've left endorsing something that would destroy women's rights to fairness and equality. That is your legacy. Anyone got a thought?
Yeah, it's absolutely absurd to suggest, the reason that she's left at this point is because her life has become so difficult as she's tried to campaign for fairness and equality for trans women in sport. Even as she's, fought for a very, very long time to get through all of these measures that you've just said have been really, really important. We've reached the stage where the political debate about trans people has become so toxic that she feels like she has to step down in order to be a full-time campaigner.
Erling Haaland says, I'm a woman. He can play in the women's team?
The number of trans people that are going to be in this position. It's not
hang on. Very important question. Grace, can Erling Haaland, if he says, I now identify as a woman, play in the Norwegian national women's team?
City.
Massive.
He's the best striker in the world. He's 6'4". Yeah. He's a massive beast. He scores goals every 10 seconds in the men's game. Are you happy?
If he suddenly decided to become trans, to go through all of the horror...
Actually, you don't have to go through anything.
Just self-ID.
No, you go through nothing.
He self-identifies as trans. He deals with all of the pushback on social media, the death threats, everything that he's going to get as a result of that, and then says, I want to become a woman, I want to identify as a woman. Then, the team would be able to legitimately make a decision as to whether or not that was allowed to happen.
That is the Megan Rapinoe position right there. You are our Megan Rapinoe. You've just destroyed...
You're saying that I'm an international women's soccer player?
No, I'm saying you're relatively irritating, take a position which is always wrong.
The feeling is mutual.
And on this one, you have just endorsed Erling Haaland playing women's football, which of course would destroy women's football. Congratulations. Women's rights nil.
I didn't...
But look,
I didn't know who Erling Haaland is. I didn't know the power to destroy women's football.
Biological sex matters, right?
Yeah.
And men, born as men, shouldn't be playing women's sport. But Rapinoe, free speech. What's wrong with that?
Nothing.
She's allowed to.
And by the way, nothing wrong with me exercising my right to free speech.
If Haaland says he is a woman, you don't need 11 people in one team. Put a goalkeeper and Haaland on one team, and you get the Women's Cup.
Bridges, you said several times, you've used a phrase, I want to make sure I understand what you mean by it. You've referred to people with a capacity for pregnancy. Would that be women?
Many women, cis women, have the capacity for pregnancy. Many cis women do not have the capacity for pregnancy. There are also trans men who are capable of pregnancy, as well as non-binary people who are capable of pregnancy.
So this isn't really a women's rights issue.
We can recognize that this impacts women while also recognizing that it impacts other groups. Those things are not mutually exclusive, Senator Hawley.
Oh, so your view is that the core of this right then is about what?
So I want to recognize that your line of questioning is transphobic, and it opens up trans people to violence by not recognizing them.
Wow, you're saying that I'm opening up people to violence by asking whether or not women are the folks who can have pregnancies?
So I want to note that 1 out of 5 transgender persons have attempted suicide. So I think it's important
because of my line of questioning? So we can't talk about it?
Because denying that trans people exist and pretending not to know that they exist.
I'm denying that trans people exist by asking you if you're talking about women having pregnancies?
Do you believe that men can get pregnant?
No, I don't think women can get pregnant.
So you are denying that trans people exist?
And that leads to violence? Is this how you run your classroom? Are students allowed to question you?
Absolutely.
Or are they also treated like this, where
No,
they're told that they're opening up people to violence?
We have a good time in my class. You should join.
I bet.
You might learn a lot.
Wow, I would learn a lot. I've learned a lot just in this exchange.
Absolutely.
Extraordinary.
Yep.
Ms. Matsky, let me ask you something. So you provide health care to women free of charge, right? Is that right?
Absolutely.
You've done this for many years.
Yep.
You have licensed medical professionals at your pregnancy care centers. Is that right?
That is correct.
What are some of the resources that you provide for women who come to you in a time of need?
So,
just give us you talked about it in your written testimony, but just give us a sense of it.
So we have 3 OBGYN doctors, 5 registered nurses, nurse practitioners, physician assistants, phlebotomists, medical assistants, and we provide prenatal care, OBGYN care. We provide pregnancy tests, ultrasounds, well woman visits, breast exams. We provide a wide range of medical services, yes.
So what do you think about the DC politicians now saying that your clinic and the other 3,000 pregnancy care centers around this country are fake medical clinics? For instance, Senator Warren has said, it's now more important than ever to crack down on so-called crisis pregnancy centers that mislead and deceive patients. Senator Menendez, crisis pregnancy centers jeopardize women's health and well-being, all while elevating unproven theories about birth control. Senator Warner wrote to Google asking them to censor search results for care centers like yours, saying, directing women to fake clinics that traffic in misinformation is dangerous to women's health and undermines the integrity of Google's search results. Do you run a fake clinic? I mean, is that what's happening here? You don't provide actual medical care to actual women?
We absolutely do not run a fake clinic, and we have a full medical staff. Like I said, many of our medical professionals have experienced abortion for themselves.
It is the law of nature that only women are capable of giving birth, not trans ones. But these woke people are too woke that they think that transgender can also give birth. Is it possible? It's not. But they don't understand what they are saying or understand.
You're a feminist.
Yes.
You know, I find myself, I don't know, maybe I'm going crazy in my old age, but I find myself agreeing with the radical feminists more and more than I do with the leftists. Or I'm sorry, more and more than I do with the liberals.
Okay, elaborate on that for me.
Well, there was a great clip that was going around of Catherine McKinnon. Are you familiar with her?
No, I don't think so.
Catherine McKinnon, wonderful, great radical feminist. And it was her debating some conservative over porn. And she made this point. She said, you know, you conservatives, some of you conservatives, are tolerant of porn. You think porn is no big deal, and obviously since the internet it's exploded everywhere and it's caused a lot of problems. And she says, but you know, imagine if you were in your apartment and you heard some guy knocking a woman around every single wall, abusing some woman, and what would you do? I hope you'd go over to the apartment, try to stop it. I hope you'd call the cops, but that's what you're doing when you're watching porn. And this weak conservative, he said, well, you know, but people have a right to look at whatever smut they want. And she said, what are you talking about? You know, that's completely insane. And the conservative said to her, well, don't you agree with that? All these free principles of just watching whatever you want? She said, no, because I'm not a liberal. I'm a feminist. I'm not a liberal. And I thought, I guess maybe I'm a feminist too. Who knew?
Yeah. I mean,
would you describe yourself as, she called herself sex negative. You know, that's the kind of anti-porn feminists. Are you the anti-porn feminist or the pro-porn feminist?
Yeah, because largely the pornographic industry is a huge issue as far as perpetuating and supporting sex trafficking and human trafficking. And so, no, I'm not a supporter of the porn industry as a whole. Now, as far as like
I knew we'd agree on something.
Yeah, and as far as like sexual liberation and the ability to, you know, consciously and responsibly consume porn, I'm not necessarily opposed to that. But the large porn industry as a whole, as it supports sex trafficking and is largely unregulated, I am,
And is it only the trafficking that bothers you, or is it the women who are involved in porn come from bad backgrounds almost all the time, and usually neglectful and abusive backgrounds, and they're very vulnerable, and they're completely exploited, and they're paid pennies, and they're treated literally like meat, and then they're thrown out 2 years later, and it's just the whole thing's so ghastly. And it's not that's not a matter of trafficking exactly, but it's still an exploitation.
Yeah, I agree.
You're opposed to that, but then you just said that you don't mind people watching porn in certain circumstances.
Right. If the industry was better regulated, people were paid living wages, there wasn't this whole situation where people feel, you know, pressured or forced into that industry based off of certain life experiences or certain circumstances.
Which is 100% of the time.
Right. Well, not necessarily 100%. I do feel like people can consensually and responsibly, participate.
Like meat.
I mean, that's not necessarily what happens. Like, I think that is sort of dehumanizing, and I think
it is dehumanizing.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's also removing the consent aspect, because there are a lot of people who do sex work responsibly, and they do so of their own volition.
So before you were sounding sex negative like the radical feminists. Now you're sounding sex positive like the liberals.
Well, I am sex positive, but I mean, it depends.
All right, never mind. I thought we agreed on one thing finally, but okay.
I mean, we agree that we both do not like the porn industry as a whole.
But would you ban it?
The porn industry?
Yeah. I mean, frankly, according to the law, it already sort of is largely banned. It's just a few court decisions kind of screwed that up. But
Yeah, I mean, I think that things like OnlyFans should stay legal when they are run. I think that if it is run by the worker themselves and it is they're deciding to do something of their own volition, then I'm not necessarily opposed to that. But I do think that the porn industry should be banned or regulated as a whole.
Well, that's good. So people should not be permitted to look at Pornhub, for instance. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, I think Pornhub should be shut down because a lot of it is, unregulated and kind of there's a lot of things on there too that perpetuate abuse, that perpetuate, radicalist ideas of, objectifying women, and so that, I definitely not.
So, does that not undercut a little bit of your argument about bodily autonomy and doing what you want, in your own bedroom with the blinds closed? I mean, if a guy wants to go into his bedroom and pull up some disgusting pornography and do whatever with his own body, sex with someone you love, as Woody Allen described it, is that not a matter of his personal bodily autonomy that he allegedly has a right to?
I believe he has the right to do that, but like I said, it doesn't have to be.
Oh, you do?
I don't understand how someone can claim to be a feminist and believe that men can be women.
Chair recognizes Ms. Mace from South Carolina.
Unfortunately, Joe Biden is confused. Shocker. The Biden administration and their, quote, gender Taliban can't even define what it means to be a woman. This guidance by the Biden administration infringes on the First Amendment rights of American workers, threatens the safety of women and girls, and serves to further erase and erode what it means to be a woman. Which leads me to my first question, Ms. Wiley. Can you define what a woman is?
A woman is a person who says she is. And let me just tell you one story about this, because when I was a child...
No, you're not going to tell me a story. We're not doing that right now. It's not story time.
Yeah, it is story time, because when I was a child, I was
No, it's not. I'm going to reclaim my time. Be quiet. I'm going to reclaim my time right now. Do you believe that you need a PhD to define what a woman is? Yes or no is the question.
I think every woman is able to define herself as a woman.
It's not how it works. There's biology and science. I would encourage every American to follow the science. Are there risks to women when biological men are in a bathroom with them, Ms. Wiley? Yes or no?
We have every reason to want everyone to be safe.
Can't even answer the question.
We are
so
not
the left,
safe
everybody,
or
listen
unsafe.
to the left today. They cannot say yes or no when in asking whether or not there are risks to women when biological men are in the bathroom. Can't even say yes or no in the hearing today. This is lunacy. This is absurd. This gender-bending ideology of the left is disgusting.
All right, let's go back to the biology. Male, female, boy, girl, okay? Biologically, do males have an advantage over females biologically in sports?
Again, I'm not a physician and I can't speak to that.
What's your real world experience?
It depends. I mean, there are some people who are born male that I'm faster than if I were to sprint against them, and some that I'm not. Some males that are taller than some women, and some that are shorter.
You don't believe that a biological male has a physical advantage in sports over a biological female?
Not as a definitive statement.
How many female members of the NBA do you see?
Well, I can say that, there's been this news article about men that think that they could beat Serena Williams in tennis, right? That they think that they could actually score a point on her. And it's just not the case. She is stronger than that.
What's your experience, Ben? Male, female?
Both Serena and Venus lost to the 203rd ranked male tennis player, which they're phenoms for women.
Okay. I really think you hurt your credibility when you refuse to acknowledge that biological males have an advantage over biological females. It kind of makes me wonder about all your testimony.
Senator Hawley.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thanks to all of the witnesses for being here. I want to visit with you, Ms. Maskey, but before I do, I just want to clear one thing up. Professor Bridges, you said several times, you've used a phrase, I want to make sure I understand what you mean by it. You've referred to people with a capacity for pregnancy. Would that be women?
Many women, cis women, have the capacity for pregnancy. Many cis women do not have the capacity for pregnancy. There are also trans men who are capable of pregnancy, as well as non-binary people who are capable of pregnancy.
So this isn't really a women's rights issue.
We can recognize that this impacts women while also recognizing that it impacts other groups. Those things are not mutually exclusive, Senator Hawley.
Oh, so your view is that the core of this right then is about what?
So I want to recognize that your line of questioning is transphobic, and it opens up trans people to violence by not recognizing that.
Wow, you're saying that I'm opening up people to violence by asking whether or not women are the folks who can have pregnancies?
So I want to note that 1 out of 5 transgender persons have attempted suicide. So I think it's important.
Because of my line of questioning? So we can't talk about it?
Because denying that trans people exist and pretending not to know that they exist.
I'm denying that trans people exist by asking you if you're talking about women having pregnancies?
Do you believe that men can get pregnant?
No, I don't think women can get
So
pregnant.
you are denying that trans people exist?
And that leads to violence? Is this how you run your classroom? Are students allowed to question you?
Absolutely.
Or are they also treated like this, where
No,
they're told
allowed
that they're opening up people to violence?
We have a good
by
time in my
questioning?
class. You should join.
Oh, I bet.
You might learn a lot.
Wow, I would learn a lot. I've learned a lot just in this exchange.
Absolutely.
Extraordinary.
And let's just keep it real simple. Just 2 yes or no questions. And this is for Dr. Kumar. Dr. Kumar, can biological men become pregnant and give birth?
So men can have pregnancies, especially trans men.
So can biological men become pregnant and give birth? So are you saying that a biological female who identifies as a man and therefore becomes pregnant is, quote, a man? Is that what you're saying?
These questions about who can become pregnant are really missing the point. I'm here to talk about
No. This is me asking a question and you answering. I'm asking the question, sir, not you.
Right, and I'm answering the question. Somebody with a uterus may have the capability of becoming pregnant, whether they're a...
Calling something by a different name doesn't change what it does. Like calling your leg an eye. Still right at foot.
Petitions of your life.
Okay. Well, then
all right.
You can talk to this one.
Any of you guys, if you want. If any of you guys want to sign it, take the pen, okay? Ban conservatives from voting.
I think everybody has a right to vote.
That's everyone has a right to vote?
Yeah, that's what got us here.
Same.
All right, so pass on that one?
You pass on that one.
All right. Well, the next one's ban AR-47s in the U.S.
That one's a maybe, yeah.
Maybe?
I don't think we should ban guns, but there are some guns that shouldn't be handled by us. So.
What's your thoughts on AR-47s?
I don't really want to discuss that, but I do know that while guns may not be the full problem, things of this nature should be left for like wars and things, not just somebody off the street. So.
Okay. Petition time, all right?
Sure,
if you don't like it, tell me to go to the next one. Ban conservatives from voting.
I would love that one, but I feel like that has no potential. But
it has potential if you sign it.
I don't want to be the first one.
You would.
But it looks like I would be.
I just started though.
Okay,
be
fine.
The first.
I will sign it. I'll be the front runner for that.
All right. And what makes you want to ban conservatives from voting?
I would have to say their lack of intelligence when it comes to some of the policies out there, but every single person is different, so I can't say that that's how everybody thinks about it on the conservative side. It's just, I feel like their outlook on life and how society is being run is more egocentric, where they care more about themselves instead of the greater good, and I look at it as everybody being treated equal, and I feel like if you don't want everybody to have the same rights as you, then how is that a good way to look at life and how you want to treat other people?
All right, we're off to a solid start. We have 3 signatures. I'm 3 for 3 on this.
Okay.
Ban AR-47s.
I agree with that, yeah. Because there's no need to have those kinds of guns unless you're going to war.
And what makes you not like AR-47s? What makes you want to ban them?
Just how many people... Oh, God, the pen's dying.
No. Just scribble at the bottom.
I like the blue coral number 2.
Keep it going. Come on, come back to life. Please don't die.
Where have you been, by the way?
Don't die on me, please.
I think...
Maybe it needs a dinosaur.
it looks like it's...
Maybe it needs a dinosaur. Let me try and bring it back to life.
A few moments later.
I come from the furry community. Legalize furry and animal marriage.
I would say that is more personal, so that's not something that I have to worry about, nor should I have any say in, because if you want to have somebody that can marry a furry and have an animal marriage, I know that's kind of but at the same time...
Something I advocate for is a furry.
Well, then I won't say yay or nay to it, so I won't sign it. But again, if that's something that you want to see happen, then I would say by all means continue going for that.
Okay. Yeah, I'm fighting for that one hard.
Yeah, again, I haven't say neither way, so...
Okay. And this one's probably my most near and dear to my heart. Have an airport at the southern border for easier access.
I would have to say for easier access... Do you mean as in people immigrating here legally? Then...
Well, illegally. Well, we don't even say illegal. They're undocumented.
Well, that depends, again, how the person is coming through the border. I think that there should be stronger, ways of regulating who's coming through the border. If there are more legal ways for people to come in, then I would say, by all means, let's do one of those. Maybe we can have an airport from one area saying, if you want to come to the country, we can start the process now and then fly you in safely. So if that were to be followed along with other policies and procedures in place to make it safer and lower the amount of illegal immigration, then I would say yes.
I'm going to give you petitions. If there's any petitions you don't like, just tell me to go to the next one. So I have probably 5 or 6. Some of them are for fun, some of them are more serious.
News or
it's for Knox, for UTK. I'm doing a school project.
Okay.
It's wild how easily some people get triggered by the simplest questions nowadays. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed seeing people stand up to the woke crowd, hit that like button, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments. Let us know if you've had your own instant karma moment. Stay tuned for more unfiltered takes. See you in the next one.